Good morning, friends. This is the early morning update for 11th of March 2020. Now, last night, I think the Dow has closed higher by 1100 points, but that doesn't seem to be having a great amount of impact on Asia, and SGX is down by about 109 points. Now, this is in comparison to Monday's close, so that way you are still higher than Monday's low, which was uh, about 10,265. So that way you are about 160 points higher. Now, the tricky issue here is that we could have a bit of choppiness. So, because it is sort of a gap down, and possibly you are likely to open a little weaker. So, trying to sell if you do get somewhat of a pullback of 50-70 points, which means that if you can get closer to 10,450, 470, that would be the place where you want to act. But obviously there was some sort of selling exhaustion on Monday, and that could create a bit of a pullback. So, broad idea is that we try to sell at higher levels, as high as we can go, but overall the momentum appears to be down, and chances are that even on the bank nifty, if you are able to get any sort of 150 point rally, that would be a good place to sell. I mean, I would avoid selling if you get an early morning sort of a gap down. So, it's possible that the market has some sort of a small pullback, and closer to say uh, 10,470, 480 would be my preferred zone to sell into. On the individual stock side, uh, I think stocks which got uh, battered and butchered on Monday, if you get a bit of a pullback rally on those stocks, particularly oil stocks or financials at higher levels, they can be sold into. Overall, the selling can kind of slow down a bit, but is the selling going to end anytime soon? That appears to be difficult to visualize right now. So, what happens with the market post trend days, like we had one on Monday, is that markets have two-sided action on subsequent days. So what we want to look for is to watch out for any sort of upside so that we are able to get better prices to sell into, because we have to remember that the market, even if does not have a pullback which moves sharply higher, you could surely have a pullback which was sideways to up. And Monday was a very very strong down day which almost went till a support of about 10 to 50 300. So from there, the entire pullback may not happen today itself, but clearly over the next couple of days we could have a bit of a pullback. So given that the speed of this fall has been so high, any sort of you know pause will also look like a pullback rally. Other than that, I think three major factors remain. One is Corona, the other is our own financial sector, and the third is the dislocation of oil and commodity markets. Clearly, those are factors that are likely to continue to impact the market. Just that I would think that given the kind of fall we've had over the last 20 sessions, a bit of sideways action and, you know, uh, fresh lows not being formed over the next couple of days is something which should be expected. And I'm kind of repeating this because sometimes people can think that, the market is going to keep collapsing, and you may get stuck at in your shorts at lower levels. So having a bit of patience will give you better trade locations than quickly jumping in and finding that while your direction was right, you have been trapped on the downside, and you get into that sort of trouble. That should be it for right now. Take care, trade well, and please consult your financial advisor. See, patience has two aspects to it. One is before the trade, the second is post the trade. So, people are often weaker on their patience when they need to be uh, before the trade. So, wait for things to set up in a manner where you are getting better trade locations, which means if you are a seller, you are waiting for some sort of rally to start failing at higher levels, and if you are a buyer, you have to wait for the downside to fail. And in this case, what you want to do is that you want the market to go up and fail preferably at 10, 550, 600. Now this is the preferable zone. It may or may not happen, but if you go short from those levels, you will get much better traction than going short at 10,400. Take care and trade well.